Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows. I was going to do the video tonight as soon as the baby fell asleep, but then he kind of fell asleep sitting on me while we were watching a video with the girls, so I'll get back into that later. But it's now late, so we're going to do a quick video. So we got up this morning, had something for breakfast. I think it was eggs and some vegetables. That's pretty much, if I don't say what we have for breakfast, that's pretty much what we have most mornings. I've been laying in bed longer the last couple days than the kids getting up at 6. If you had asked me like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, what time I got up, I woke up at 5 a.m. with this little guy, and I would try to keep him quiet in bed for an hour nursing so that everyone else could continue sleeping till 6 o'clock. Well, this past week, somebody's cutting teeth. No, he's not gonna let you see him. He's been cutting teeth, and so he hasn't been extremely grumpy or like showing signs that his mouth hurts, hasn't been like tugging on his ears or putting extra stuff in his mouth, but he hasn't been his normal self and his sleep schedule's been off. So the past probably 4 or 5 mornings, he's been asleep like on me. We co-sleep. He's been asleep like on me at 6 o'clock when the clock goes off. So he'll like wake up around 5:45 and kind of rolls and stretches and climbs on top of me and then crashes, falls back asleep and just is there for like half an hour. Sometimes I can slowly move him off and then go out of the room and have someone else watch him while I get some stuff done. But I've been enjoying laying and snuggling with him in the morning. So anyway, once we get up, I get people dressed and all of that. This morning, we've changed up our schedule a little bit. I talked about it last week. So we've been getting up in the morning. Josiah does a crawl, and then we go outside to enjoy some family time, outside time, whatever you want to call it. Depends on the day. So when we first went out today, Mark and I were walking, and Samuel and most of the little siblings were building tents. Samuel's been into survival lately. That's what he's been doing for school. And so they were like stringing up a rope in the trees and then building a tent. After doing some of that, I don't know what led us to it, but we went to the bus and started doing some things, and then suddenly we were washing the bus. Then suddenly we took everything out of my mom's car and we cleaned out the inside of her car and vacuumed it out because my mom has been on vacation. She got back tonight, but we had access. Josiah looks fine.
He's good.
We had access to her car. We didn't use it very much, but we had access, so we cleaned it out today for her as a surprise. I did tell her when she got home. I was going to wait and have her just see it in the morning when she went to work, but then I realized that I moved all her stuff around. I wanted to make sure that I told her so that if she had put something in a specific place, she could go get it. So anyway, we did that. We were outside for quite a while doing those types of things. And then we moved back inside where Josiah did another crawl. We got our lunch together, which lunch was leftovers. So we had leftovers of like chicken and beans from a taco dish the other day. We had some leftover rice. Josiah, you good? We had some leftover chicken broth. We had some leftover peas. We had some cans of corn. Like we just had lots of random things. Oh, some chicken. And all of that got thrown into a pot. And we had soup, I guess you would call it. We had some rolls also. Virginia had made some refrigerator dough the other day. After lunch, we did another set of crawls. And then we did our Bible time. Our Bible time was Joshua 6, where they walked around the city, and they walked around the city of Jericho, and the walls fell down, and Rahab and her family got saved. That's the basics of the story. What we were discussing was how precise God was in telling them what to do. Like on the first day, you walk around the city once, you go back to your camp. Don't do anything else. Don't yell at the city. Don't go around it twice. Don't try to do it 3 times and then make up for a couple days. Like go around once, go back, come back the next day. Go around once. If my phone goes off in a seizure alert, Josiah is scratching a bug bite probably.
Yeah.
It might not go
like
off.
We're watching him scratch the bug bite.
So Josiah wears a seizure watch, that if he has a shaky seizure, which is the only ones for him that get to the point that we have to give him medicine. If he has a shaky seizure, his watch is attached to Mark's phone and it calls my phone. So in the middle of the night, I would get a phone call to say, hey, he's having a seizure.
We've always been there before the phone goes off.
Yes, it's just a nice safety measure.
Because we see him and hear him and know exactly what's going on with him.
But sometimes he sets it off by scratching because that motion or sweeping, we used to have him wear his watch during the day, but too many things set that off. So if he's scratching or if he's just being foolish, so
Dude,
if you
stop
hear it, he's
scratching it.
okay. We are watching him. So anyway, we were doing Joshua 6. We were talking about how precise God is in things. He told them exactly what to do. And then some reason we move to the New Testament and we say, oh, God gives grace, which he does. But Ananias and Sapphira also got killed in the New Testament not for like withholding stuff. They got killed for lying. Like they didn't have to give all of their stuff to God. But when they were asked about how much they gave, they lied about it. There were people.
But there are so many commands in the New Testament that seem reasonably clear
Yes.
that we don't want to deal with.
God is the same God in the Old Testament and the New Testament. A lot of people like to think that the God in the Old Testament was mean and angry, and then he sent us Jesus, and now he's like kind and loving and good. But God was the judge then and the judge now. He was loving then and he's loving now. If you read through Joshua, Judges, Exodus, like
This
books,
prostitute's whole family was saved.
yeah. No, I was going to say all the times that Israel was doing everything that they wanted to do, and then they turned back to God and they were like, oh, please, God, forgive us this one time and then we'll follow you. And so God forgives them. And then a couple chapters later, oh, God, please forgive us this time and then we'll do what you want us to do. It kept going. Israel kept getting forgiven and forgiven and forgiven. God is long-suffering, and that's really good for us because we all sin a lot. But the New Testament makes it clear that we are not to continue sinning so that God can show his grace to us.
Right.
That's very much spoken against. We are to be living a lifestyle that we are not living in perpetual sin that we are going unrepentant of.
Yep.
It's one thing to be doing something that you don't realize is sin, and when you find out it's sin, to change through God, not just, I'm going to clean myself up. But it's another thing to just say, well, God's okay with it. I'm saved, so God's okay with this.
God's not okay with any sin.
Right.
He hates sin.
So we were just talking about, like, the New Testament is very clear on ways we're supposed to worship God. It's not smoke machines. It's not giving large amounts of money so that some pastor can buy himself a private jet. It's not, like, there's a lot of things that worship is not in the New Testament that we have made worship to be. Worship is not really cool music that makes you feel really good about yourself, because worship isn't to make you feel good about anything.
We're not worshiping you.
We're not worshiping you, we're worshiping God. And we need to be doing it in the way that God wants us to do. Sorry, I just realized that all these blankets were out of here. So anyway, we're supposed to be worshiping God in the way that he's asked to be worshiped. It's like if I'm like, hey, I really want to bless my husband tonight. I think I'm going to make him a cherry pie. And I don't know, it's something you don't like. He likes pretty much everything.
Cherry pie.
Okay, he doesn't like cherry pie, so I don't know. I never
I'll
make
take cheesecake.
if I say I really want to bless my husband, I know he loves cheesecake, but I'm going to go buy him this cherry pie instead. It'd be like, why are you doing that? If he's asked for cheesecake, then make him the cheesecake. Or don't make him anything, but don't go buy him
But
cherry
if you know
pie.
what he wants, and
God's
tells us
very
what he
clear in what
wants.
he wants. And I'm not saying anyone does this perfectly. Do not take this
We're
video
not
as sinless perfectionists. Like, we are all going to continue sinning, but we're not going to be held captive by sin.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be a slave to sin. God changes our want to, and so the things that he's asking us to do are not burdensome. We shouldn't feel like, oh, it's Sunday, I have to go to church. We should wake up saying, I get to go to church. This is exciting. I get to do this. I want to do this. We should think that same way about reading our Bibles. We should feel that same way about getting to enjoy, like, singing worship to God. We should feel that way about being able to teach our families the Bible. There's a lot of things that we are expected to do in the Bible. Like, God says these are the things you should do, but we shouldn't look at them as burdens, because as a Christian, you should want to do those things. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we were talking about that. Was there other things we were talking about specifically that was a lot of our conversation. So we're tired. We're trying to remember what else went on.
I'm trying to keep my head
So
up.
then this afternoon, I did some school with the kids. The church we're going to just started 1 John, so we're doing a little study on 1 John, and we were looking at sound waves. If you figure out how that relates to First John, let me know. I think some people don't ever like pay attention to what I'm saying in the videos, but we were learning that says that which was from the beginning, which we have heard. And so we were talking about how do we hear, and we talked about the anatomy of our ear and then sound waves. So then we made supper. Some of the kids helped me, so that was part of our school.
Some sound waves.
Oh yeah, then we made sound waves. The kids we have a drum, like a drum head,
Yep.
and so we were holding it upside down with a pencil on it, and the kids would hit the bottom, and we would rattle the pencil. But if you hit the drum really hard, the pencil goes flying up in the air, and it makes kids laugh really hard. So they continued showing Daddy how they made drum waves. Sound waves. So anyway, we then made supper, which we had gone to that was another thing we did today. We went out to the garden and harvested zucchini and peas. So we made what we call cheesy zucchini stuff as part of supper. So it's eggs and sour cream and cheese with some seasonings. What? You're laughing.
We just have highfalutin names for stuff around here.
Cheesy zucchini stuff. We
We
also have cauliflower stuff. Cabbage stuff.
We do.
And Bubba Surprise. Okay, so we made
a lot of stuff.
cheesy zucchini stuff. We had mashed potatoes and we had burgers. Not on buns or anything, just burgers. But after supper, everybody got a bun because right before supper happened, my mom got home from her trip to Ohio. She was there with all of her siblings, and she got sent home with all the leftovers, I guess, because we got 4 bags of buns that had gotten squished in transport.
Like, Sarah's family will eat anything.
But my kids don't mind squished buns, so after they all finished their food, they got squished buns. Oh, we also had tomatoes that were bought from the store and peas from the garden to go with it. So then my mom was here, and she told us stories about getting together with her brothers and sisters and stories they told and birthday parties they did and all kinds of stuff. So they had fun. It was good. Then we put kids to bed. And then the girls and us watched a video by Peter Santinello. We've talked about him before. I think he is a videographer that goes into different communities and lets them tell their stories. So he's done it on Amish people. He's done it on Hasidic Jews. There's a new one about cowboys. Women in Islam and how they feel like they're treated. The Bloods and the Crips.
Yep.
Crips and Bloods. So he's talked to all these different people, and he just really is able to let them share their stories. It's really neat. You kind of have to watch it because I can't really explain it well. But the video we watched today was about people living independently with disabilities, and it was a place called Paradise in Melbourne. Promise. Sorry. Promise.
They did say it was Paradise, but yes, it was called Promise.
Promise in Melbourne, Florida, I think was where it was. And it's not like a group home. I've worked in group homes, helped in group homes before, but it's like, it's like an apartment complex. Like I would think in Florida, like they have a lot of apartments. So he was interviewing this one guy specifically who was blind, but it was an apartment that had a kitchen and a living room and everything, and then 4 bedrooms off of it. So there were 4 guys that shared one room, one apartment. And there were 126 people who live in this place, and each person is at a different independence level. But like this guy who was blind was dating a girl who lived in a different building on this campus, and they were able to walk across the street and catch the city bus to get to Target, where they would have a date at Starbucks and buy the stuff they needed. Some of the people at this place work at like the local Publix, but like this guy that he was interviewing worked in the office at the place, and so it was just different people there have different amounts of help. Some of them seem to have no outside help. Some have help with budgeting. Some have help with like caregiving. Like there was a lady in a wheelchair. She said she had 2 caregivers at different times during the week. I don't know what their jobs were. Maybe like helping with bathing and stuff. I'm not sure. We only saw the one guy's apartment, and he didn't need physical helps in his apartment. But it was just a really neat idea. Ideally, the church should be taking care of...
Ideally, families.
Sorry, families and then church should be taking care. So like Josiah, if he got to a point of needing care, like we don't know what Josiah's future looks like. For those who are wanting to know how Josiah's doing, Josiah is having some issues with emotions as we've gone off the medicine. I don't think those are necessarily related to the medicine, just how his brain is trying to cope with this lack of medicine. But it is now Monday night, he has not had a stiff seizure. He has different kinds of seizures, and the stiff seizures are the biggest, hardest ones on his body. He has not had a stiff seizure since last Tuesday. He had 5 last Tuesday. We had told you that there was a count, or we had put it on Facebook or whatever. He had 29 a couple weeks ago, 26 multiple weeks ago, 9 in a single week, 5 in a single week, and then just 5 last week. All 5 of those were on one day. It was the day before his birthday, and he was very excited about his birthday. You know, he was just very excited. My mom was leaving town. There was a bunch of different things that I think his body was just very ramped up, and that was like one of the final days of medication. But he's now totally off the medication, has been off the medication for about a week, and he hasn't had any. And today the barometer dropped. And I know that doesn't affect a lot of people, but Mark had a really hard day today. Him and Josiah have the same hard days. And so I know that today should have affected Josiah seizure-wise because it affected Mark so badly. But still, we didn't have any seizures. Mm-hmm. So he got to ride his bike today. He helped with all the clean out of the vehicles and everything. So that was good. But going back to the show we watched, if Josiah in the future needs care, depending what his level of ability is, our first placement would be to put him with one of his siblings if it got to the point that Mark and I could not take care of him physically any longer. And Mark and I are going to take care of him as long as we are able to do that. Then we would ask one of his siblings to take over his care. If that couldn't happen, we would hope that the church would step in and help with whatever the caregiving needs were of that. Just like we're supposed to help the orphans and the widows as a church, but you're looking to serve the widows indeed, who are the widows who don't have children to take care of them and that type of thing. So we think the family should do it first, and then the church should step in. But then after that, there might still be people who need this help. So like nursing homes. A lot of people who are in nursing homes do not need to be in a nursing home. They do not need the care that's available at the nursing home all the time.
I've worked in multiple nursing homes, and I would testify to that.
So there are a lot of people that are there because family won't take care of them, even if the need is something that isn't that big. But then there's somebody, like my grandpa ended up in a nursing home by the end of his life. And he lived at home with his wife until he was no longer able to transfer. He had Alzheimer's, and he had like surgery on his knees and stuff, so he didn't have the best balance abilities and things like that.
Hips.
Yeah. So he was home with my grandma until he couldn't remember anymore how to transfer himself in and out of his chair and move safely. And that decision had to be made by my grandma, and that was really hard. And she actually wrote a book about it, about how it was like being a widow before he even passed away, because he couldn't make any of those decisions anymore, but he was still alive. And it was something that he had always made those decisions. But he went into a nursing home and needed care where they had to like use lifts to get him up and those types of things. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who just need someone to make sure that they didn't leave the stove on, that, you know, that they take a shower once in a while. That's what most of the people that are in nursing homes need, is somebody to remind them, you know, here's what we do on a regular day. But like in our house, we have a 2-year-old. He knows what we do in a regular day because he watches us. Oh, everyone's going to the table. It's time to eat. He doesn't have this like masterful plan in his mind of, okay, I'm going to, you know, read 3 books and then we're going to go sit at the table and eat. He's like, oh wait, everyone's moving to the table. Oh, people are working in the kitchen. Is it time to eat yet? Like that, a lot of people as they get older revert back to those younger stages of thinking. And they just need a family that's going about doing daily life, and they can be like, oh, okay, here's what we do at this time. This is, you know, oh, everybody else is getting dressed for the day. Hey, Grandma, let's go get dressed for the day. And it happens, right?
I just realized you're talking about me.
Oh.
I didn't even realize it.
I didn't even realize that, no. Mark doesn't know what's going on a lot of the day.
No.
So we'll
What
have
am I supposed
times
to be doing?
where we all go to the table and Mark comes 10 minutes later to cold food, not because we're trying to be mean to him, but because he was busy doing something and didn't realize that the rest of us had gone to the table, even if we had told him. We're not just doing it to be mean, right?
No.
You know we're not doing it to be mean.
I don't get cues. I don't get subtlety. I don't get...
But Mark truly, most of the time, would not eat regular meals because he forgets to eat.
Yeah.
So, like, he wouldn't think, oh, it's lunchtime, I should go get some lunch. It would be 3 o'clock and he'd be like, I'm hungry, and he'd go raid the cabinets.
Yep.
But that's just, like, I don't know.
That's life at our house.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people with your disabilities that people would say, okay, they should go to a group home.
Yeah.
But really, there's no reason we can't have, because
We seem
most
to
of
be
the
doing
time,
okay here.
most of the time, Mark is functional in other ways. He just forgets, like, oh, he asks me often, so what do we do? It's after lunch. What do we do now?
Yeah. What am I supposed to be doing?
And we just changed our schedule, but we
Like,
had
what did
this.
I tell you I wanted to do today?
Yes. It's not me being a nag. He just forgets what the next course of action is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be talking about you.
No.
I wasn't saying it is a bad thing.
No, it's interesting. Losing independence is
So anyway,
typical to old people.
the video series was interesting because, like, the guy he was interviewing was talking about how he used to be a line cook and he used to be a computer repair guy. I mean, he was talking about some pretty interesting things, but he's blind and has trouble, like, they took the stairs instead of the elevator in the video, and he got lost as to where his apartment was. I mean, because it's a big...
In the building he's lived in for like 12 years.
Yeah, but, like, think about, like, a hotel. You're, like, walking down one long corridor. He got mistaken because there's a couple different ways to go up, and he forgot which way they had gone up. But he's able to do a lot of independent living. There were also people in that same video who, you know, were in wheelchairs,
Right.
who needed more help than he got. But he also said there were some people who just needed help with, like, budgeting, like paying their bills or being reminded to take their meds. So anyway, so that's where that was really interesting to watch with the girls tonight. And I think that's it. We found out last night after I did my video that some of our friends, I don't know if they watched our videos, but we really enjoy them. They're going to be coming to Maine, so that's exciting to see them. Anything else going on? The girls are going tomorrow to learn to make pies. Maybe we will get to enjoy their pie making skills at some point.
Phil said they should come home with pie, so...
Oh, I didn't know they were coming home with pie. I meant they would gain some knowledge.
I said, praise the Lord, I hope they come home with pie. Maybe he misunderstood. I don't know.
So anyway, they're going to come home at least with knowledge of making pies. We told you last week, I think it was last week, that Naomi made a really good pie. We haven't asked Josiah what he wants for his birthday cake because he hasn't had... we weren't totally on diet on his birthday the other day. Now he is, so we have to ask him what he wants for his birthday dessert. But Mark's arm is about to fall off while I do this video. So I'm going to say goodbye. We will see you guys next time at Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. Bye.